Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
We are back.
What's going on?
We have a lot to talk about this week.
Total Gears' wrestling radio show.
We have the aftermath of this week's interview by Colt Cabana with CM Punk. There's a lot to talk about there. It's a
Amazing
full 2-hour
insight.
interview.
Amazing.
Yeah, he talks a lot about his time in the company, which he didn't like. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what's happened since then. We're going to talk about the aftermath. We're going to talk about our thoughts on that.
We've got the massive debut of the new Fandango to talk
No,
about.
no, the New Day you're talking about.
The New Day. We've got New Day.
We've got Raw, SmackDown, and
There's
last
another
week's
debut
pay-per-view.
that happened.
We
Survivor
also got
Series.
some fella called Steve Borden or something
I don't
like
know.
that on the go.
I don't know who he is.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We'll
might
look at the
touch upon
dead
it.
sheet, see if we can find out who he is.
We might talk about it.
We got a lot to talk about, so
Yeah.
let's get going.
Go. What's going on?
Yeah,
Here we are, folks. Total Gears wrestling radio show's back.
Yeah,
we are here
we're here.
like a new day. So
We're here.
right, we're
Got
gonna
cut off short last week, folks.
we're gonna talk about the CM Punk interview first. So basically, if for all of you who didn't know, which I'm very surprised if you listen to this,
You shouldn't be
this,
listening if you don't know, right, really, should you?
CM Punk did an interview on Colt Cabana's Art of Wrestling podcast this week, which revealed his final years really in the company and why he left. And
First,
you know,
I want to say,
a couple of
the
little
Art of
things.
Wrestling podcast is a really good podcast generally, but this was like
yeah, it's
something else.
shot to number 2 since that shows how
Yeah,
many people have picked up this podcast
on
just to
iTunes,
listen.
doesn't it? Yeah,
And
like
it's on
podcasts or
YouTube and it's still on iTunes. It's number 2, so
Mate, it got like 500,000 views.
You know,
within, like,
Colt
3
Cabana's
days.
probably making a nice little whack off his sponsors. So
Most
fair
definitely.
play to the guy.
He's
whacking
probably
off his
ruined this.
sponsor.
He's ruined any chance of going back to WWE. Like he was
Yeah.
there 2007, 2009.
Not ever, not like CM
I mean,
Punk
yeah,
has,
of course,
but,
never say never, but he
not
also,
like-
it'd be a surprise.
He's
if
in
he
the bad
ever
books,
played.
but he's
Yeah.
not CM Punk in the bad books. Yeah, so basically, they started off the interview very, very casually for the first while, talking about how they were and stuff like that, and
As
then
you
he went straight into it. He started off.
Basically went chronologically, didn't he? Like just done
yeah.
a timeline for
Yeah,
us of
which
the events that occurred from about 2011. So I think what he said was the timeline was he started, after his pipe bomb promo, and then went on from there till his departure. So yeah. So basically, what he at first said, the pipe bomb promo, he cut that. They wanted him to re-sign. They were giving him all movie offers and contract offers, and he said he was dead set on not re-signing. But he said he did the thing, he ended up doing it, and he was promised a lot of stuff. Do you have any thoughts, Lou?
Well, I didn't watch it he listened to it till like 15 minutes in, so I don't know what he said at this point. But I liked his hair from this stage. It was really nice.
Oh my!
Yeah,
Is that?
that's my input for that
That's
bit.
your input.
That's
He
my
he did not. I mean,
What?
in terms of who came out good and who came bad out of this interview, Ryback got very, very bad words from Punk. Like, Punk was talking about how, like, he bots a lot of stuff, and there was an episode where after he was working with Ryback the second time, and he'd said clean slate. He goes up to Ryback and he goes, good match tonight, and then Ryback immediately proceeds to nearly give him a concussion by botching a gorilla press and half around him on the concrete, half around the table. And
Misses
the table breaks. Like
Didn't
he
this
hits,
happen later
he
on,
hits
wasn't
the
it?
table like half,
On his
and
head,
it like slams down and it breaks like on the back of his neck. And
Didn't this
concussion
happen in the
lands, it's
Heyman
really
feud?
funny, and he lands on the concrete. And after he goes up and confronts Ryback, and he's like, are you doing this on purpose?
Or
Are
you
you just dumb as fuck?
Yeah.
And apparently, according to CM Punk, Ryback replied, I'm just dumb as fuck.
Hey, some hilarious memes have come out of this shoot, but that is the funniest one. Is the picture of Ryback saying, "I'm dumb as fuck." It's the biggest gulp on his face.
Another big one was Dr. Aman. Dr. Aman, who also referred as Doc by CM Punk a lot on the podcast, was the resident. He was the doctor they went to if they had an injury.
He's the guy on TV you always see, checking them out.
And when they do promos and about the wellness
like
thing,
that.
he's the guy talking, and he had nothing but bad words for Dr. Aman. It would seem, he shoots
think
all
all those
over him.
bad
He
words-
says, he had a staph infection. And since I'm going to put perspective in this. I was talking to Louis and Paddy about this yesterday. There's an he accuses basically of they gave him Z-Pak, which is an antibiotic for a lump on his back, which turned out to be a staph infection. He claimed this at the time that this wasn't standard procedure, but like it's been clarified medically that it actually was. But what goes on to happen is like it keeps on getting bigger, and they refuse to cut it out and keep just giving him Z-Pak.
This is staph infection, folks. It's not.
Yeah, it's a staph infection. It could kill you.
You can die of staph infections.
Yeah, and they keep giving him Z-Paks, which is again this is what they should have been doing, but CM Punk didn't think so because obviously it wasn't getting better. And he ended up going to another doctor, and he said it was really bad pain trying to do squeezing it all out, and they gave him a different antibiotic. What had actually happened was his body had developed a resistance to the Z-Paks, which is why like he wasn't feeling any benefit, because he says at one point like it was okay for like a month, and then like it starts getting worse again. So like for that month, he was away, and then it develops the resilience to the Z-Pak. So, but yeah, he was just shooting on about everything, about anything that was wrong. Like Ray said, Ryback intentionally broke his ribs with a kick, and he had to work. They were always too fussed about getting him on TV rather than his health. That's it, and that was the whole point. He revealed that he was fired rather than he quit.
He was actually fired on his wedding day.
Yeah.
He was sent to FedEx on the day of his wedding. So basically, what happened here was. So I'll give this a bit of perspective.
So first of all, you get fired, then you have to go get married. How worse can a day get? Jesus.
Yeah. What was I talking about? Forgot my train of thought now. Thanks for that, Lewis.
Wedding day.
Yeah, the wedding day. So he got fired on his wedding day.
Well, the way it starts is with Triple H, isn't it?
The way it starts is basically when Punk quit because of all the injuries, all the nagging injuries, the shit he went through, like the mid card, like he got put in the mid card all the time. And Vince McMahon kept promising, he kept saying. Punk highlighted this a lot, that he'll owe him one, that Vince will owe Punk one. And they said that 3 times to him. And then basically one day, the day after the Rumble, or after the Royal Rumble, where Kane eliminated him because he got like a concussion in the Rumble. So they eliminated him early by Kane. So the next day on Raw, he quits. He says, Vince, can I speak to you? He goes into Vince's office, and Triple H says, I'll just leave you to it. And then Punk just like, no, listen, I want you to stay for this. I want you to stay for this especially. So basically, he does his tirade and why he quits. Says stuff like, you've said 3 times you fucking owe me one. All I want is the main event of WrestleMania, the last match. Blah blah blah. Talks Triple H. Says highlight Triple H. I don't want the match with you at WrestleMania 30. You need this match. I don't need this match. You should have put me over 3 years ago, and you fucking never. Blah blah blah. So yeah, it all happens. Punk says he's quit. Keeps wanting to get. Vince keeps texting to return. Punk says, no, I'm not coming back. And basically what happens is Triple H texts Punk one day and was just like, and we need to talk. And Punk texts him back saying, I've always been here to talk too, but I'm just going on my wedding, going to my honeymoon. I'll speak to you after it. And so basically, Triple H doesn't reply, and then 2 days later on his wedding, gets a FedEx in the mail saying he's been fired. So Triple H has been the biggest part in him getting fired out of anyone. He calculated that. He knew he was getting married.
One of the things he keeps on saying is he kept getting beaten by part-timers. They'd beat him and then they'd go away. And he was mad about, he started falling so far by this point. And he thought WWE made him not like a main event draw.
Well, no, he highlighted when he was a face, he was making more merchandise sales than John Cena, which he was. That was the truth. And then Vince said Rock wants to come back against the heel, so they made Punk turn heel because of that. Yeah. Punk was hesitant. He didn't want to turn back heel. But he said he's better as a heel. He knows that, but he didn't want to because he was making so much money and the company so much. He
was outselling John Cena merch, which is quite an impressive feat. There.
Yeah.
The whole interview, he says at the start he doesn't want it to be a shoot interview, but that's what it is. He shoots all over everyone because it's hard not to.
He says it's his life story, but it's a shoot. Damn it, if you name drop wrestlers and backstage personnel, it's a shoot, and you have nothing nice to say.
Ryback has since claimed that he never had any confrontation with CM Punk, and
he said he's going to come out with his version of the story soon, in a big I don't know, interview maybe. I'm not sure,
which he won't. Yeah, I mean, the one of the things as well is we've got after Raw tomorrow night. There's the podcast with Vince McMahon, Stone Cold, and it is going to be live. So, You know, anything could. It's going to be live on the network in the studio. So you know.
Well, there's been a report out that Stone Cold is going to ask Vince about the podcast, but he's going to give some sort of corporate answer. You know, it's just like down the middle.
Yeah.
That's the rumor anyway. We'll see.
Well, yeah. I think I don't know. How candid do you think this is going to be? This Vince McMahon podcast? You think anything like shocking is going to come out of this? He's going to. Like, what do you think?
I don't think there was any plans for that.
No.
What was it like?
I don't think so. It's just going to be a big. They won't go too backstage, you know, in depth, because it's on the network, man. You know, if it went on the network, maybe,
but the network, like, they break kayfabe on the network a lot. They break kayfabe a lot on the network. I say it in Smackdown shows and the Monday Night Wars and stuff like that. They break kayfabe all the time.
Do you think this is all building up for a CM Punk Stone Cold Steve Austin match at the next WrestleMania?
You think it's a work?
Shoot interviews.
Yeah, imagine if this is all the work. Yeah, on like Stone Cold and Vince McMahon.
That would be the greatest work of all time.
That would be amazing.
Like, that's usually internet, so that's fullest, isn't it?
Yeah. If they do that,
yeah.
That would be amazing.
Amazing.
That'd be amazing.
Amazing.
Be amazing. I didn't know you wrote comic books. Old CM Punk.
Yeah, he's starting to. Yeah. So that's
wonder what those are like.
That's the thing. At the end of the interview, basically, he's saying, you know, I'm happy now. I'm the happiest I've been in 3 years. I've got loads of stuff going on in my life. You know, he's a comic book writer.
But they're graphic comic books. All the people he slept with in WWE.
Huh?
But they're sexual comic books. All the. He's writing erotica now with all the.
No, he's not.
All the
he's
people
he's writing
with.
For like Marvel or DC or something. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry to let you down.
Okay. In my head, he's not. In my head, he's writing for erotica.
Okay then.
Someone fun to get out of this is AJ. If she's already not a diva's job,
that really
going
is
to be after this.
That really is going to be interesting. What happens to AJ?
Well, she got squashed. We'll get onto that, but maybe this is the start, because the Survivor Series looks like it's the start.
Well, getting squashed by Nikki.
Jobbed out in general.
I mean,
I don't think AJ's a good wrestler, by the way. I don't think she should be the.
It's alright, lads. She's tied the house, so it doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah, but Nikki's more.
No. Like the Divas division, this day and age, all about is the fittest of the woman.
Yeah.
She should be the champion. Fuck the wrestling.
Yeah, but Nikki's fitter than AJ, so.
Huh?
Nikki's fitter than AJ, so.
You think so?
Yeah, definitely.
You just like them fake boobies, don't you?
Yeah, they're real ones. I'm not interested.
So I mean, you two just need to stop going off on a tangent. Something interesting that came out of this was. You know, the suggestion of a union, you know, a wrestlers' union, especially with the network now, because it's one of the really sort of scary points that CM Punk made was about the network coming in. You know, like the day before the first pay per view was on the network, CM Punk went to speak to Vince and just go, "Oh, Triple H can't." I think it was Vince.
It was Vince, yeah.
And he said, you know because it's so much cheaper. Like just to put it in context. To buy a pay per view in America, it's like $50. It's not like
$60 in HD.
You know, we pay like £15 over here. Not that we pay it, but
yes, we do. We never stream.
You know, I won't lie. We stream it. You know, we stream
legally,
it because I don't want to. I don't want to give money to a company that promotes, you know, working with staph infections.
Yeah.
But so CM Punk goes up to him and goes, what's going to go on here? You know, if people are subscribing to the network, would usually be paying $60 a month. How is this affecting our money? You know, we're obviously going to get less money, aren't we? And he's like, oh, we haven't thought of that. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
You know, he said he didn't know. And then apparently Randy Orton was asking CM Punk about the payoffs to the pay-per-views on the network. That's amazing to hear, isn't it? It just shows how much of a locker room leader.
Well, he said the only people at the time who could go and like speak to Vince in a way were like, you know, who were active locker room. Were him and John Cena, and I assume like Kane as well. You know, like Kane. You know, there's a few people. You know, Triple H probably was obviously not included because he's even higher up. Yeah. You know, Undertaker, but he's not active roster. But you know, like John Cena and CM Punk with the young guy. You know, they're in the prime. Rock and Austin. You know, they were them guys who could go and speak to Vince and talk about creative.
Also, Punk said in the podcast while he was in that room when he was quitting, he said. Like, you should have given me my fucking main event 2 years ago. Daniel Bryan deserves to be in the main event WrestleMania, and he's not going to get it, just like I didn't get it 2 years ago. Yeah. Just calling him out on that. They eventually put him in. So
one thing as well, throughout the interview, he seems... Vince McMahon doesn't get a lot of heat from it. Like, I've noticed forever. No one ever really, like... says Vince McMahon's a bad person.
Yeah.
Really, you know, Vince McMahon seems like maybe a bit two-faced in this way, but like he seems just like a very, he seems like a nice guy. Like he said, CM Punk said, like the guy was like
cr-
genuinely
He
crying.
was tearing up.
Yeah, he said he had like tears in his eyes when CM Punk decided to leave and gave him a big hug. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't get spiteful. But everyone, from every interview I've heard, Vince McMahon always comes off quite well, like as a person rather than the businessman. Vince McMahon's ruthless, but the person Vince McMahon always comes over as quite a nice guy.
Someone who's like, but people talk about he only gets like a few hours sleep. He works over a company at the size there is. It's going to be hard for to always maintain to be a nice guy all the time. So I think Vince probably
does be ruthless when you run a business like that.
Vince probably does it better than most
people
billionaires
should know that,
do.
though. The wrestlers should know that.
I mean, he's done a lot of good things in the past. Like Ric Flair was talking about that Hall of Fame story about him giving another ring, like when he gave one to his old son and stuff.
Yeah, that was nice.
So he does some good stuff. What? Watching porn?
No.
Wait,
Louis, you don't have to let on that. I'm not saying anything for a reason.
Yeah. Why not?
So WWE came up with a statement. Let me get this over. Yep. It's only about 5 words, but it's bullshit.
There's a lot of fucking backlash from this. Obviously, we talked about the Ryback stuff. Also, there's been a rumor that Triple H wants to kill CM Punk. Like apparently he's reacting the worst to the whole podcast, which he should.
Vince is a bit upset. Like Vince, he's not Vince is not angry. He's just a bit upset about the time that CM Punk's released this because we'll talk about Survivor Series in a moment, but Survivor Series to us three and Mike, who was on the podcast last week, we all said that it seemed to be a turning point. This is the new generation coming in from this date.
It's a new season, basically.
It's a new day.
Just set it up. Intended for us.
So the timing of CM Punk bringing it out, it was on Thanksgiving, which was this Thursday, is very, it's very, he just seems at the
well-timed.
well timed for him, badly timed for the WWE.
Yeah.
But
true.
Maybe not any publicity.
Any publicity, exactly.
Because,
that's Vince. Always, what's Vince thinks.
So I'm just gonna read this.
Well, on that point, they built a lot of the attitude off the Montreal screw job. So maybe it's a good thing that this came out at the time they did. Maybe it's good timing. Maybe they'll build something off it.
Possibly.
Hopefully that will be
so
good.
Vince will be a heel again.
So WWE's statement on the CM Punk podcast was as follows. WWE takes the health and wellness of its talent very seriously and has a comprehensive talent wellness program that is led by one of the most respected physicians in the country, Dr. Joseph Maroon. But what the WWE haven't realised is that physicians, you may be one of the most well-respected physicians in the country, but there's a reason why everyone slags off America's healthcare, because he's probably nowhere near one of the best health physicians in the world, because he's a part of the American health culture. So, which explains probably some of the ineptness, just this, you don't have health insurance, I just work for the company, you're not paying me, I ain't going to cut that thing out.
Yeah, one of the other things we got touching about from the podcast, it was the fact that when he got fired on his wedding day, Punk hired like the best lawyer in somewhere like New York or something, and took WWE to court. And WWE tried to get Punk on like stuff like They signed this agreement. He tried to get them to sign this friendly agreements or something that's in the law. I don't know. I don't understand it all. But anyway, and then when Punk said no, WWE started saying stuff like, he's just going to go to TNA.
They wanted them to sign an agreement, which meant that neither of them would speak badly of the other. If they were asked, they would just give us a small positive statement about the other. WWE wouldn't slag him off an air, and he wouldn't slag him off the podcast. And I believe he said, didn't he, not until you apologise about the wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
That was, he said, if you apologise on air about that, then we'll sign one, wasn't it?
And then he tried to hit him with stuff like in the
no compete.
Yeah, no, it wasn't even no compete. He just said, it was just say, he's just gonna run off to TNA straight away and just stuff like that. And they put a no compete in.
It's the most unlikely thing.
Imagine that. They put a no compete in for TNA, and they also put a no compete in for UFC.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Punk's got to go to UFC.
I mean, I don't know what's more crazy, UFC or TNA.
TNA.
I mean,
because
Punk's the kind of guy. If TNA, I don't think he'd go to either. I think he's much more likely to end up. I think I'd see him at PCW. I honestly think I'd see him at PCW before I saw him at TNA.
New Japan and Global Force Wrestling. You could see.
He'd just go on the Indies. Yeah. He'd do a couple of UK shows because his UK fan base is huge. His draw in the UK is huge, isn't it?
No, we were talking about this yesterday. His biggest demographics, biggest fan base is here in the UK. when I see people in wrestling shirts out, it's always a CM Punk t-shirt
Yeah.
90% of the time. Like, I've seen people in a club in Liverpool, a club called Largo, just with a lot of people in there with CM Punk t-shirts on. It was madness. But the no compete actually didn't stick because Punk ended up winning the lawsuit. So we got a royalty check and like also a big massive fat check on top
Well,
of that.
he said his exact words were, "I got everything I wanted."
Yeah, and then somebody said,
yeah. So it seems like he took him to the cleaners. He got his no compete was dropped. He got more money than he should have got. He was able to talk about it without them stopping him. So pretty much the WWE
once again shows WWE's stupidity of trying to be a bully.
Do you know
trying to be too much of a corporation, conglomerate type of thing. Just bullies.
Do you know, like, that contract you said about no compete and he can't go to TNA and he can't go to UFC? They didn't say anything about Total Geezer's radio show, did they? So he could come
the
here.
no compete isn't stuck anyway. You've just said that, so he can go anywhere he wants.
So he could come here.
Yeah, of course he can.
So if you're listening to this CM Punk,
which he obviously is,
we have got an extra space. You will do. We've got an extra space.
There is a wheelie chair over there, just waiting for you, Punk.
We're not
if
giving
it
you
was
any
a
of the-
work.
What if it was a work, man?
I
Greatest work of all time and perfect usage of using the internet. Like, that'd be a perfect way of using the internet and storyline, wouldn't it?
I think if
It's
it
all
was
been done online.
I think if it was a work, I don't know. I'd probably stop watching. I'd be like, that's enough for me. Like,
That's it.
I'd be like, nope.
Like, obviously,
I was like, wrestling just got real again.
Yeah.
So
Obviously, after the Punk shoot, we were thinking the same thing, but this would be like even worse, like even better, I should say. Like, imagine it'd be such a mindfuck.
It's not though. It's not because when you see the incidents he's talked about in the past, like all the footage is there.
Or maybe like he could return one day and he bring that up in storyline, like that'd be cool.
Possibly.
That'd also be
You
cool.
know, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Never say never in wrestling,
Well, I think last year, would you have if you was booking, would you have given CM Punk the the main event spot at WrestleMania?
You mean this year's main or last year's?
No,
main?
last year's
29.
No, I would have given.
That's what I mean. 30, yeah,
You
30,
mean WrestleMania 29? I would have gave it to him. Yeah, I would.
No, what the one we've just had with
Well,
Daniel
no,
Bryan.
the year before
Let's take the last three then. Let's take
Okay.
the last.
I would have given 28.
I wouldn't have given him 28.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, 29. He should have had.
29. Yeah, he should have had the title, kept it. Should have won against the Undertaker, streak versus streak. The title streak.
Yeah.
That's obviously the main event. Like they said in the podcast as well, when he had that match, apparently Vince said to him, that should have went on last, and he said, "You better fucking pay me like it went on last." Just funny.
I think that match is overrated personally, but like
it was the best match of that Mania though, by far. What was better than that? Rock Cena weren't. Brock Lesnar, Triple H certainly weren't.
It was the best match of that Mania, but I didn't think it was an amazing match. I didn't rate it as an amazing.
It was 4.5.
match.
4.5 stars to me.
Nah, not. I didn't think it was great. I think that was when Undertaker started to slip, to be honest. And that's the first time I thought
But he's
Undertaker.
really aging.
He's really aging now.
It's alright, folks. We'll see him. He'll be back.
He'll be back.
this Mania.
Yeah, facing somebody.
So I say that's basically it, covering all
But-
of the Punk's mod podcast.
Yeah.
just
The
say.
thing is, if Punk does come back, you can't deny him this year. The main event, like this, will be the biggest
31.
story. If this is a work, this is definitely the biggest storyline, and he definitely would get the main event spot at Mania. So maybe that would be in a draw for him to actually come back. Because there is no way, no one now. There's no way Vince could deny him the main event.
Punk
spot.
also said on the podcast that they, when he got put, they thought he weren't a draw, but he's actually drawn. He's outsold John Cena merchandise, but he also got the
TLC
main
as
event
well.
of TLC 2013 was it? It was the main event. John Cena on there. It did more buy rates than the previous year.
Yeah.
So he was. I thought he was a pretty good draw as well, because especially for the UK fan base. I'll always say that.
Yeah. Right. Let's just let's play a bit of music.
Yeah.
So that was the recap of
Yeah.
Punk. Amazing podcast.
Yeah, it was great. Added some realism to what we watched. It's the NWO. Yeah.
Hello.
Right.
New World Order for life.
We are gonna talk about Survivor Raw series.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Raw. folks.
Sunday,
Night
yeah,
Raw.
Sunday.
I love that quote. That's
Minus-
sick,
minus
that.
Sunday
one.
Night Heat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Minus one man.
Yeah.
What opening segment?
We watched the pre-show, didn't we? We missed the pre-show where
We missed
Fandango
the match.
and
Yeah.
the debut of the new better Fandango. With
What do you think?
Basically, they replaced salsa
He looks
music.
good. I
Yeah.
saw. I didn't see that. I saw the Raw, and he looks
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Basically, what the new Fandango is they've replaced salsa music with flamenco music,
Yeah.
and now he wears a red top
And
now.
he's a bit darker though. He's a
Yeah.
little bit.
And
Nah, it's white-
roses with
White
him as well.
pants. Nah, it's white top in it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different type of dancer.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
it's flamenco dancing and
Right.
roses with him. That's the only new things about Fandango.
Yeah.
Same
Nah,
moves,
he's changed his hair and that a bit as well. Like,
Has he?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then the second part of the pre-show was
Random ass match.
Swagger vs Cesaro. It was an alright match, to be honest. You know.
Yeah.
What did you think of the panel? Who's in the panel?
Booker T,
Heyman.
Paul Heyman.
Riley, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
Renee.
Yes,
That's true. Yeah.
I thought. Well, any time you've got Paul Heyman in front of the camera, I think it's going to be
gold.
half decent. So that was really good.
It's
I
the
think,
Simon guy.
I think he did a really good job of like building it up even more.
He always does.
Like,
He's just he could talk people into buying pay-per-views. Like that's
Yeah.
what he does best, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the opening segment, Vince McMahon called the Authority and John Cena to the ring, and he had the stipulation that should Team Authority lose, the only person who can bring the Authority back to power is John Cena himself.
Yeah.
Now, that's surely going to be played on at some point.
Yeah, it will be. I think that's
Heel
a pretty.
turn.
I think that's I think that's a pretty good stipulation as well. And no, I think it'll be a lot something along the lines of like Cena gets beat the shit out of, and he's like,
Maybe John Cena versus Triple H in an I Quit match, where instead of saying I quit, he goes like, I bring the Authority back.
not bad. Be a good match.
I bring the Authority back. I bring CM Punk back.
Oh,
That was the stipulation.
John Cena said there is no way in hell, ha 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 ha, he will bring the Authority back to power. Well done, John. Fantastic job.
By the way, this segment went on for
As per
ages.
usual.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I mean,
ages.
it was just
that was the
it
longest
was
match.
such a raw
Yeah.
segment. It was just a
It's the
raw
longest
segment,
match.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's crazy.
Couldn't that be done on Raw?
No. Yeah.
The Miz and Damien Mizdow against Goldust and Stardust, who were the champions at the time. The Usos and Los Matadores with El Torito. The Miz and Mizdow won. And this match was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah,
You
it
know,
was fun, man. Just a really
Some
fun
good
match.
outside the ring
basically,
spots.
it was one of the WWE standard bullshit weird. This is how we do 4-man tags instead of having 4 men in the ring. We do 4-man tags this way because we're dicks.
Yeah.
So you have 2 men in the ring and then you can tag. It doesn't
Tag
work,
anyone.
but like I
Nah.
prefer the 4
That's
in the ring.
No, that's how they always done those
Nah,
matches.
like
though.
all the indies don't do it like that.
No, the independents don't, but that's how.
Yeah, I know,
always done it.
but I just feel I think it's
Yeah,
bullshit. Like
I've
the
always,
WWE
I've
do.
never liked that as well. It doesn't
What would
make
you
sense
prefer?
tagging
No,
in another team, does it? No.
It doesn't make sense. Fatal 4-way with tags.
Yeah, okay.
That's
yeah.
what it should be.
Yeah.
That was what makes sense in wrestling. But either way, it was a very
Still
good match.
Play-
Basically, they built up to Mizdow
Miz,
coming in
yeah.
for ages. Like Mizdow was doing the same shit, like selling the Miz.
He was so over. He was just
Yeah,
so over
the
here,
crowd were loving it. It was brilliant, wasn't it? And he finally got tagged in, didn't he? And then as soon as he got tagged in, he went to he punched one a couple of times, and then when he went to do a move, he got tagged out.
Yeah.
See, there was no payoff.
I like Stardust.
And then like Stardust was playing heel quite well.
Golden
Like,
Stardust, I thought were pretty over in this match.
You
Versus Stardust,
had 3-4 good tag teams. We had 4 good tag teams in this
Had
match. Really.
some great outside the ring spots. didn't
Yeah.
it?
I would say the
Well,
tag
high-flying
team
stuff.
team matches at pay-per-views this year have been outstanding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they-
Like, best in
Well,
years.
the
Haven't
tag
they
team
put-
division.
They're actually starting to put
It's
like
Triple H likes them,
importance of credibility into
Yeah.
it. You can just tell.
Yeah. Finally,
Give them a match.
finally.
Time. I got 15 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
Back a few years ago, that never would have happened. Man.
Can I
It's
say
like
I think
5 minutes?
most of the titles now are quite credible because Intercontinental, like that's sort of important again, and the US, yeah, kind of.
The US isn't, but
Yeah,
They
But
might
apart from
unify them.
yeah,
they
I
should
I hope
do,
they do. Yeah, I've been saying for a while, one main, one mid card.
that. Yeah,
They should
tag.
do title fights more like boxing, man. Like build it like segments, right? So many loads and segments. Don't even
Like,
have them in the ring too
Need to a
much.
mid card, yeah.
Like you can do it like the UFC and they do it like the boxing. Really build it. Build the Intercontinental.
Like,
Have it main event and shit. Yeah, like what I mean,
have
why
a
not?
contract signing and have it on. Have it. It'd be really good if the women's championship as
I think
well.
we'll start to see more of that when Triple H,
Well,
Yeah.
definitely with the
is
world
charged.
title they've done that because it's going to be like was it
The
3
world
months
title's
break
always
since-
been like that though. The
Yeah.
world title's always
Yeah,
had
yeah,
that
it has.
prestige where it's almost like a boxing match.
It always
a lot
will
of
as well.
contract signings.
Yeah.
But the way this match ended was finally like the Miz was actually about to win.
To get the cover, weren't he?
And Sandow came in and hit
Tagged him, just pinned him straight away.
Tri-
1, 2,
tripped
3.
on the rope.
Huge pop.
Pinned
huge
him, and it
crowd
was
loved
awesome because the Miz was in shock that he did a move, didn't he? I don't think he just pinned him.
No, Jey Uso, I think Now Jey Uso dive bombed him, didn't he? Splashed him. Then Miz tagged him in while he was in midair. Went to pin him, and then Miz tagged him.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then, and then just pinned him straight away.
And the Miz was on the ropes looking shocked, like almost quite annoyed. And then
then
he realised that he'd won. And like Miz does this great thing where he jumps
celebrates
up.
for half a second.
He jumps up and leans on the rope next to Miz, and then just turns his head and like looks at him, and just gives
the
him
exact
this,
same expression as the Miz does.
Yeah, and then what's great is like the Miz goes up and gets both of the titles, and then and Miz Styles running around just pretending. So it's great because you got a tag team now who one's a legit heel and one's a legit face. So because every time Miz was lifting them, the crowd were booing the fuck out of it. And every time Miz Dow was lifting the non-existent ones, the crowd were loving it. It's awesome.
Yeah, while I was watching, as I said, whoever came up with that gimmick is a genius. Give them a raise. God damn it. And on Raw the next night, I'll just say this. Miz Dow had replica titles, just the little snide one you buy from the WWE shop.
You know, this pair's working so well because Miz gets to play his annoying role that he has already, but like it's actually quite refreshing to see it because you've got Miz Dow as well. You know, I hope they run with it for a while. And then maybe have the Rumble and build up to a Mania match. I think them two at a Mania match.
That'd be so
they
cool.
Could put on I think both of these guys are really good wrestlers, and especially like if one of them picks up like a title as well. You know, there's a way to give credibility to the title. Yeah, well, have the Miz pick up like the Intercontinental title, and then Sandow win it at Mania.
No, have them both just keep the tag titles till Mania. That'd be funny. That
win a match.
Whoever wins it wins the tag titles.
What, against each other?
Yeah.
That would be quite funny.
They've got to pick a partner to hold it with.
Oh, that would be quite good if they go against each other with new partners.
Could do. Wouldn't be as now.
Miz Dow and D-Bry.
You'd get an extra pay-per-view out of the feud. You'd do that.
Yeah. You could do it after.
Yeah, do it afterwards.
Do Extreme Rules with the titles on the line.
Anyway, so like that's how good that match was because we've been talking about the Miz and Damien Mizdow for a little while now. That match was good and over.
When do you talk about Miz for this long, lad?
Right, and this next match was the biggest pile of bullshit. It was a 15-minute Divas match. 15 minute Survivor Series Divas match where all the eliminations came in like all the eliminations came within like the last like 5 minutes, like, and it was just Paige's team just got completely squashed and Tyson Kidd was there and it was a bit weird.
Clean squash.
I really don't like Tyson Kidd.
No, his new gimmick's weird.
He's got a shit gimmick. He's got a shit look. Yeah. He looks like I want to punch his face.
He had
in.
to put headphones on.
He can wrestle, fair enough, but like I just don't like him. And like even I don't even know if he's meant to be a face or a heel. Yeah. But I don't.
It's all just recorded for Total Divas. Yeah. That's the only reason he's there, isn't it? But terrible match. The structure of this match was poor because they were in there for like 10. They eliminated one person within 10 minutes. It was so weird.
If they'd done it, so it ended up 1-on-1 at the end, slowly eliminating, it would have actually.
But no,
okay.
the faces won like 5-1. It was 4-1.
So Team Fox,
stupidity.
which was Alicia. I don't even know why it was Alicia Fox. To be honest, like it was just weird.
Team Fox.
Team Fox was
it was
Alicia
Team Natalia,
Fox,
man.
Emma.
It said Team Natalia on the card.
It definitely was Team Natalia. Naomi, I don't know why it says Team Fox. It's definitely Team Natalia. And Natalia with the Tyson Kidd defeated Paige, Cameron, and the Slayers.
The Slayers? It was
the Slayers are Layla and Summer Rae.
I had no idea they were a team.
Smackdown tag team, I think. No, I think it was.
I thought they were feuding though.
No, the Slayers. I don't.
It's weird, this man.
Maybe they're gonna watch everything and we're still out of touch with the Divas.
Maybe we're gonna bring these Divas tag team titles. Never know.
Bray Wyatt defeated Dean Ambrose by disqualification, right? And in fairness, this match ran for 14 minutes, and I didn't think it ran for more than 5. That's a testament to how good it was. Because it felt like it had been.
You wanted to see more. You wanted to see more.
That was the point of it as well.
After the last 2 minutes were like building up to a DQ finish, and like. You didn't think it built up to the TLC match. Dean Ambrose hits him with a chair and then puts him through a table and then climbs up a ladder.
You know what I liked about this? It was the character psychology. Like, obviously Ambrose, he's a lunatic. He's gonna do that. Whereas back in the day when Cena was facing Wyatt, Mania and stuff, Cena just threw the chair. But it looked exactly the same. But it just showed you the difference in characters between Ambrose and Cena. Ambrose is that anti-hero type, so that was all good.
Yeah, it was a good match, and like I said, testament to how good it was that it ran for 14 minutes. Without
And they
me.
booked straight away that it's going to be a TLC match
That's-
between
I-
Ambrose and
that-
Wyatt, and this is going to be a.
It should be. I guess that should be the main event.
can we
I
say-
don't like
love that.
having had one Raw and the fact we've only got 2 more Raws before it.
That's right.
We're not gonna have a title match, so that I think that's.
And it's the premiere match, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like, you're not gonna have more than one TLC match.
I don't think so. They're gonna have a chairs match. Probably.
Yeah.
It'll probably be Big Show
It's
versus
Kane
John Cena.
versus Ryback in a cheers match. I just thought that that's going to be horrific.
Can we say Ryback versus Mark Henry? But can we say that like that clothesline that Bray delivered to Dean Ambrose was like the loudest clothesline
Wasn't
that
it?
you've
Yeah.
heard
It
in
was
several
awesome.
years.
Everyone in the arena was shocked, and we were all just sitting there, just like, oh,
Yeah.
that hurts.
One of you
That's
saying
stiffness.
JBL's probably got a boner at commentary, just watching that, just going, that's how it's done.
Very good back and forth.
Yeah.
Really, man. Just
Yeah.
good brawling.
Next match was my favourite match. Was Adam Rose and the Bunny defeated Gladiator.
Yeah.
It was announced on the show.
3 words is what the fuck.
Just
Like,
stop with these filler garbage.
Unless,
matches, man.
unless the Bunny's someone boss.
Yeah,
Who-
if they were,
Well,
but
we
it won't
reckon-
be-
we reckon
you
it's
Chris-
Santino,
I
don't
reckon
we?
it's Christian.
You reckon it's Christian? I think he's.
It's-
I think the moves aren't right for it to be Christian.
No, it is. It's that drop kick he does. That's Christian's drop
It's
kick.
Punk. It's CM Punk, for goodness
Oh my!
sake.
If it's CM Punk,
obviously CM
if it's CM Punk and Adam
Punk's
Rose,
obviously the bunny.
yeah, weird match. This is why we're calling it Sunday Night Raw. Even though it was good, it was a very, very good Sunday Night Raw. But you know, some weird matches.
It's just the bad segments just made it like really bad, didn't it?
Nikki with Brie Bella defeated AJ in a 35-second squash. Maybe that was why CM Punk released it at the time he did, because his wife just got squashed.
Yeah.
Basically, what happened is Brie turned heel by kissing AJ and then distracted her, and then Nikki won in 30
I'm all
seconds.
about that lesbian storyline if that happens. Please do.
Did they play up to that on Raw, by the way? Is her days as assistant
I don't remember,
over?
man.
Is it over?
Yeah,
So
it
is-
ran out the night after.
So
Yeah,
is
it did.
so
So
Brie
they
is just a heel now.
Yeah, they're just friends now.
So
Yeah, that
she just
Well,
did it
sisters.
because
The sisters again
It's just
now.
a sisterly thing.
She just turned heel,
I
lad. You
didn't-
know, it just happens.
Mate,
Sometimes,
it-
you know, mate,
That
the
is-
Big
so
Show's turned heel 5 million times.
This doesn't make sense to me.
There's
What-
no
by the way,
payoff. There's
by the
no
way, is
payoff.
the big show? Oh wait, there shouldn't.
I was just saying, there's no payoff to this whole Brie and Nikki.
So yeah, they were feuding in this just like
For 30 days.
volatile feud, family feud,
and there's
and
no
then it just
payoff.
ends up turning it back to heel. I hope that's not the case. I don't
Very,
believe that for a
very.
second.
It was very strange.
Well,
Yeah.
strangeness.
God.
Next up was a fantastic, it's a great match. This
Yeah.
wasn't it? Like, yeah,
I
this is a
realised 43 minutes.
4.5
man.
star match. This I
Yeah,
think.
I thought it was
bordering
up
on
there,
5 in terms of the finish.
4.25 probably for me. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's,
I mean, so
It ran
what
a
it,
while,
so
didn't-
we
it
all
didn't
know what
seem
it was.
like
It
it.
was John Cena, Ziggler, Big Show, Eric Rowan, and Ryback defeated.
that's not a very
all
good
the
team
Authority.
except Ziggler. But yeah, he
I don't
proves
think.
why.
No, I like Rowan. I think Eric
Yeah,
Rowan.
Rowan.
Eric Rowan's music's very
actually,
weird.
No, I loved it. His
Eric
music
Rowan's
was
music
great.
is awesome.
Big ups to Jim Johnson there, man.
Eric Rowan's gonna be that dopey monster now. He's gonna put like you know.
A bit of comedic value to him.
Yeah, but he's
hopefully
gonna be still.
serious as
Yeah,
well.
but like but serious in the rings, not serious out
Yeah.
the ring. You know.
Hopefully.
And then they were against Seth Rollins, Kane, Mark Henry, Rusev, Luke Harper, and that was with obviously Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, Jamie Noble, Joey Mercury, and Lana. Now I'm just gonna sort of do a quick rundown of the match before we sort of like talk about it, because it's quite a long
It
match.
needs
and
one, yeah, it does.
So first of all, they're all getting ready. The bell's rung. They're all getting ready in the ring. Big Show's first in, and Mark Henry decides he in, turns around and gets knocked out by Big Show, gets squashed by Big Show. Quite funny, actually. Wasn't expecting it. There was quite a lot of things that were stereotypical in this match, which I think a year ago we would have all hated, but because of what happened in the end, it worked. Because there wasn't an awful finish.
Yeah, I suppose.
Ryback was the second eliminated after 8 minutes in. He was there was a bit of people started to go everywhere.
I thought, started to pick up, didn't it?
It was the first time where it was sort of like there was bodies and fight where everyone was wondering. Ryback, it was a bit of dusty finish in terms of like he got curb stomped by a non-legal man and Rusev pinned him.
Yeah, but it was a good finish, I thought. Good way to get him out there.
Yeah, because
I'm glad they did that,
it took 3. I think it was 2 or 3 finishes got done on Ryback, and then he got pinned. So Rusev was eliminated by himself, but I guess it was counted as Dolph Ziggler because he was the legal man.
Yeah, true.
Basically, what he did is he was beating the hell out of Ziggler, and then he put him on a table, ran across the other table, and swan dived and missed.
Yeah.
So
moved
a good
out the
way not to get him pinned. He got counted out instead. Like he was about to get in the ring on. Like
this
he
was
would've got in for a
expected,
little
but it
bit.
was a really good spot. So you know.
Yeah, it
and
worked.
it's a
He
good
did it
surprise,
very
it
like
worked very well.
every elimination
Well executed,
was
wasn't it?
pretty sort of
And-
expected by myself. I think all of us.
Yeah, probably.
But they
Except
just did
Ryback.
it in a yeah. Apart from Ryback, I think they just did it in a very good way.
And
executed
also
well.
the fact that the people couldn't pick him up and put him in the ring also added to like how how much of a powerhouse Rusev is. That like 4 guys like Kane and all that couldn't actually physically
Yeah,
pick
because
him
he
up.
ends up getting counted out.
Yeah, because he's too physically strong to pick him
Yeah.
up.
That was cool.
And
Yeah.
then
Ziggler mixed in at 9, didn't he?
Eric
Yeah.
Rowan and Luke Harper had a nice little about 3 or 4 minutes where they didn't want to give too much away because obviously these two are going to feud.
Yeah.
And with Eric Rowan being eliminated, and then that left Cena and Big Show in the ring with Ziggler on the outside, but then Kane, Luke Harper, and Rollins in the ring, and then once again,
That time of year.
was that time of year, the Big Show turned heel, knocking out John Cena, and at the time we were horrified. We didn't know what was about to happen next. Yeah, we didn't know what's about to happen next, but then I had a quick look at my phone and went, there's half an hour left here.
But
don't
Calm down. Basically.
Do you know what
Yeah.
came to my mind? Because remember we had this conversation about when Mark Henry turned heel, and there was this conversation who's going to turn heel. I don't know, it might have been on Brian and Vinny actually, but there was a conversation going on saying who's going to turn heel. Is it going to be Big Show or Mark Henry? And the conversation got who's turned heel the most times, Big Show or Mark Henry, because they both turn heel like every single week. Now they've both turned heel in the space of 3 weeks.
Yeah, and they were supposed to be feuding together, and they played down at the start of that match off on that. And then he shakes Triple H's hand.
We have a conversation on Facebook between the 3 of us, where we post all our wrestling stuff and stuff to bring up on the show. And I put a video in there this week, which is every face and heel turn of the Big Show.
It's 23 minutes
Yeah,
long.
23 minutes long, and each segment's only roughly about a minute and a half. So
Edited
it's about
versions.
20 heel and face turns.
We should get the actual figure, man. Like seriously.
Also,
next
can I bring up that what Big Show was working for the Authority, yet why did he eliminate Mark Henry for?
Yeah.
So why didn't they just have it 4-on-1 in the end?
Didn't make much sense.
No.
Yeah. Maybe just had a change of heart or something.
Yeah,
you know?
in mid.
Maybe.
I think that's what it was.
His
He
own
needed-
free will.
Yeah.
Oh, they're playing off that he didn't want to get fired. Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe,
That's what it was.
Probably, yeah, makes sense.
Right. So then the next thing that happened was the greatest 30 minutes going. Like,
Indeed.
Dolph Ziggler was dead. So Cena. Big Show counts himself out. He just leaves,
Yeah.
leaving
He's
a
on
dead
match.
Dolph Ziggler on the outside of the ring against Kane, Luke Harper, and Seth Rollins. And we're us 3 sat here like be arsed. And then Dolph Ziggler goes clutch. Dolph Ziggler goes clutch and wins the whole damn thing.
He goes cray.
But he does it with a little bit of help. So he starts off with Kane. Kane's beating the shit out of him, and then he starts. He gets his comeback.
Does his
gets
comeback?
driven
Yeah.
on.
Does his
How
typical?
Did he use a chair on Kane or?
He's used a zigzag. He might have used the chair. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he might have a chair. Might have got involved.
Or the steps.
Yeah.
Might have been the steps.
I think it was the steps. I think he might. Didn't he zigzag him on the steps? Or
I think
something?
so. Yeah.
I think he zigzagged on the steps.
steps
got
in the ring.
No, it was just outside.
Outside, and then he threw him in or
back
something.
in.
But either way, yeah. So he goes clutch on Kane. Then he goes clutch on Luke Harper.
That ended with a super kick, I swear. The second pinfall, didn't it?
It was a schoolboy.
Was it schoolboy?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, the second pin we are, Luke Harper.
Oh,
Yeah. So Luke Harper again. Luke Harper comes in, starts to work, but then Dolph Ziggler gets a little bit, but then you think, oh, here we go, because Luke Harper starts beating him down, and then out of nowhere again, Dolph Ziggler gets the schoolboy, and we're down to 1-on-1. So Seth Rollins,
very good.
Seth Rollins and Ziggler going at it for about 7 or 8 minutes. So these two have been in the ring for about 40 minutes now, and they've got a great back and forth.
Yeah.
And
Ziggler
wins this twice. Ziggler gets the pin, and Triple H pulls the ref out.
Yep.
To which I don't think
he takes out 2 refs, doesn't he?
Yeah.
No, what happens is he takes one out, and then he pedigrees Dolph Ziggler, and then he calls for another ref to come out, and Ziggler ends up kicking out.
Yeah.
So Triple H attacks that ref, the other ref that came out.
Yeah. And then he gets Dolph Ziggler gets destroyed. Yeah. And Triple H takes Seth Rollins, lays him on top of him.
Should we do a drama roll for this next bit?
He takes
Sting theme.
Yeah. takes Dolph Ziggler. Dead on the floor. He's dying.
Still on the floor.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Seth Rollins
Triple H
calls
for another ref.
calls for
Triple H
another
Triple
ref.
H calls for another ref.
Who is it?
It's
who's that? Who's that? The referee.
What happens to the lights?
What's
The lights go out.
It's the crooked ref.
It's
The
the
crooked
crooked
ref
ref.
runs out. Goes for the one.
He goes for the two. Lights go
and
out.
then lights go out.
Sting.
Yeah.
The man. The man they call.
That's Sting. It's Sting.
My God, it's Sting.
It's Sting.
Sting.
The
made
man they
his
call Sting. Folks.
WWE debut.
First time he's ever stepped foot in a WWE ring.
Never mind the pop in the arena. The pop in my living
our
room.
happy-
was
Yeah.
no, it's 4 in the morning, and
Head
and
went west.
I had been taking the piss all day, and while we were doing the podcast, and saying, "Oh, Sting's debut." No, and then we'd given up by that point, and I went, "How funny would it be?" 10 minutes later, it happens, and we
Yeah.
like there was 5 of us, and we went mental.
Yeah.
It was great. Sting comes out right.
This went from being a not very good pay-per-view to
Being
one of the best
greatest
pay-per-views.
of
Yeah.
because at this point you realise WWE had got the finish spot on.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
Because
Everything was perfect. Everything fell into place.
You knew
Yeah.
Sting was going over, and you knew Ziggler was going over.
Indeed.
And
Went Cena as well, which
So
was great.
there was a couple of things disappointing. One, he never came down from the rafters.
No. He
2,
didn't have his bat.
2, he didn't have his bat.
which was
Like,
weird.
It wasn't the original theme,
if he
wasn't it?
no,
wasn't the
it
original
was
theme
not. It
either.
wasn't
It was-
this
it was a
theme,
new theme.
unfortunately.
It was a
But
new
I play
theme.
this one
It
now
was-
'cause it's
It was
better.
still a good theme,
Yeah,
but
but this
no
is
one's
Sting.
topped this theme. Like, no.
So he comes down. Triple H and him stare off. I think it's for 2.5 minutes.
4 minutes.
4
stare down.
minutes?
4 minutes.
4
stare down.
minutes
I
stare
think it's
down.
good to have that long
Both.
with stare
By the
down.
way, this whole
I
time.
quite like that.
But this whole time, Seth Rollins has had Ziggler pinned for about 5 minutes
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter any because Ziggler
No.
Ziggler had already should have won
Because
twice.
the ref comes out and then Sting twats him.
Yeah,
and
Sting,
punches the ref.
takes him,
Yeah.
and then Sting.
And then just stare down center on
yeah.
the ring. 4
then
minutes
finally-
straight from Triple H. and
Finally,
Sting.
a Stinger death drop.
Finally,
Yeah.
Triple H gives him this weird.
Scorpion death
gives him
drop.
this weird look
Triple
like,
H
why
goes-
are you here?
Triple H goes to like clothesline him, then
Yeah.
he gives the death drop.
Yeah, then he gets us. Yeah, he does.
And then the last thing he
Scorpion
does
death
before
drop.
leaving the ring is replace the arm of Seth Rollins on Dolph Ziggler, of the arm of Dolph Ziggler on Seth
And then
Rollins.
one of the previous refs gets up. 1, 2, 3. Team Authority disband.
yeah.
Team
And
Cena wins. Dolph Ziggler wins.
Dolph Ziggler goes
No other winner than Dolph
so
Ziggler.
over.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And in the power rankings this week, it has been revealed that Dolph Ziggler is only behind Brock Lesnar. He's number 2. He's above everyone.
Is that right?
You're pretty, on active
surprised.
roster, WWE rating him as the second best
Yeah.
right now.
So as he deserves.
Because the one thing I think the good thing we were really intrigued about by this was because on the early previews, the dare sheets for WrestleMania, Ziggler's not really been mentioned,
No.
and now he's getting the biggest push before
Which
WrestleMania.
means it has to lead to something. He needs something at Mania. You don't get put in this position and then just get put out
he's
of
going
it.
to go into Mania as a face.
Yeah,
So-
he's going to face someone big. He's got to face.
It can't be Bray Wyatt because they can't have Bray Wyatt needs to win at this WrestleMania.
Do you think
Seth Rollins, I'm thinking.
Dolph Ziggler, Seth Rollins?
I think
That'd be a great Mania match.
But you know what? Seth Rollins has still got that money.
He might be in the main event.
think
You know what? I
Seth
think it's going to
Rollins-
be Seth Rollins, Dolph Ziggler for the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania. I think that's what's
that'd
going
be
to
cool.
I agree. I think it's going to be Dean Ambrose and Seth, like the final blow off.
Yeah,
to their
it could be
feud at
Dean
Mania.
and
Yeah,
Seth.
but
Or they could do it at the Elimination Chamber. I'd be happy with
Dolph-
that.
or SummerSlam. They could wait.
But anyway, Dolph
Yeah.
deserves a singles match at Mania, like
Yeah.
a grudge match. Give him
Yeah.
something like that. Good storyline.
Who would
going
you
in.
have?
Cena turn heel and
Yeah.
Dolph versus Cena.
That
You
would-
left me in the Survivor
that
Series.
Would be awesome.
My head would blow off
I
if
know.
that happened. I swear.
Triple H.
Triple
I
H.
hate Hulk
Triple
Hogan.
H Sting,
That's going to be at the Rumble. It looks.
think so?
Yeah, apparently he's doing
no.
2 matches. That's going to be at the Rumble, and
Okay,
then he's going
so-
to face Undertaker at Mania.
Right,
They
so
should wait.
the end of
till
this
Mania.
pay-
No, they shouldn't. For Triple H.
Triple H
Sting
Sting
at
should
Rumble.
wait
Be sick.
for- no.
Sting's
Yeah,
Nah.
it would, but
No, because Triple H, because Sting, Undertaker.
be a great Mania match as well.
I think.
If they do that, it's fair enough.
Yeah,
But
I think that's why they're doing it. I think
Yeah.
that's the
if they
plan.
do, yeah.
Oh yeah, he goes through Triple H, beats him clean, and Taker
Yeah.
comes back to
Yeah,
you know, say
exactly.
what
And
you're
then I guess Undertaker goes over.
yeah,
And Sting,
yeah,
but
sorry.
Sting still gets a big win in the
Yeah.
WWE.
Big payday as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this was one of the greatest endings
But
of all
just,
time.
just one thing on that. Sting has actually signed. Sting has a 3-year working contract.
Is it 3 years? I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
from when he has his first match, I believe he's going to be like in a 3-year working contract. So maybe it won't be Undertaker. Maybe, maybe it could Ziggler Sting turned heel.
Ziggler Sting. Nah, we're just
No, but
maybe afterwards.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what would be awesome.
But do we want to wait
You know what?
another
You know
year?
what would be awesome if
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels had a match with Ziggler. If Shawn
Yeah.
Michaels count retirement and and put Ziggler over in like a fit. That
Make
would
that
be
match.
unbelievable. Because
Yeah.
they're very similar. I think like Dolph Ziggler is the Shawn Michaels of this generation.
Yeah,
I think.
it is. Yeah.
Are we dead set that Sting is going to be a face?
Yeah, of course he's going to be a face.
Yeah, he is.
Silly question.
Because I just had this vision.
They
I
come-
just had a vision of my mind. Rock Sting.
Sting's only been a heel for like not even like once, like 2 times. He hasn't been a heel that much. You know
Yeah,
what I
but
mean?
Rock Sting. Imagine that.
You wouldn't have to be Dan wouldn't have to be heel.
We could both be
versus
face.
Yeah.
All
clearly.
right, Rock Sting. Imagine that.
Yeah. So yeah, one of the greatest pay-per-view endings of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, like I like
The only one I can think of is the Punk.
I wouldn't say it went from being a shitty pay per view when Sting came out, but I mean like because of the it wouldn't say it was the ending that match was 1/3 of the pay per view. You know, so it would have been a good pay per view, but they got the ending right. You know,
Perfect.
like because of the ending right, the whole pay per view was very. So I give it a 4 out of 5. Like,
Really?
yeah,
I give it like a 7 out of 10 probably.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, I was because I thought the tag team match was great.
Yeah.
I think that for considering it was what it was, we knew it was going to be a little bit watered down because it was free. Considering how much they gave, considering it was
you
free.
knew it'd be filler, wouldn't you?
If I'm gonna consider all things considered, I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
I mean, if you take all the really bad stuff out of the equation,
I think it's
then
probably
it's
the
a
best,
really good.
I think it's the
pay-per-view.
best pay per view this year. Part of
it's just-
post Mania.
It's just there's a lot of lulls, there's a lot of downtime
Yeah.
because of this shitty filler. But if
Yeah.
you can look past that, then it was a special
If you were to
pay-per-view.
rewatch this and just watch the matches you liked,
Yeah, you
then-
think it's really good.
Yeah.
which I think we might do. So I want to watch that last match again.
So do I. Agree.
Knowing what
Great
happened
match.
now,
Yeah.
like
Well, I would like to. Well, this opens a big good debate. Like, if a pay per view is like a really, really good match that you go and remember from like years gone by, but the rest you don't really remember. So like Armageddon, like the 6-man cell match. I don't remember what's on the rest of the show, but do you think that makes it a good pay per view?
I'll remember that tag match. I'll remember Miz and Miz. Now, lads, like I really enjoyed that.
2 matches, but does it make it a good?
No,
Like,
I don't know. I think Ambrose Wyatt as well was their first
Yeah,
big match
I
again.
know it doesn't normally, but
Yeah.
this is a special occasion.
Do you
It's
think on
special
this
moments,
occasion it
special
does?
moments like that.
Well,
happen, it makes
considering
a
it was a
good pay-per-view.
45-minute match as well, like it's not like the main event was. If it was a 15-minute main event, I'd agree. But
Yeah.
because the main event was like the show was built around that main event, and like the other 2 matches I mentioned, they were the reason that show was on. And considering it's 1/3 of the pay per view, like that third of the pay per view is almost a 10 out of 10. You know what I mean?
And because the payoff was brilliant,
Yeah.
then that makes it
like it was an end, like, and because as well it was building. Like that, like considering it was almost like an intermediate, it was an end of an era, wasn't it? Like this is the
season end.
Season
end, really,
we, like, and from this next pay per view TLC, we're gonna go for. It's gonna be a. I think the next 4 pay per views is gonna be brilliant.
really good. Yeah, till
We've
Mania and
got
then
Rumble
Mania
soon.
season,
Like
yeah.
it's my favorite
Yeah.
pay per view of the year, the
Of
Rumble.
course.
Rumble's
Everyone's-
favorite pay per view, and WrestleMania is usually the most fun. Right. We've been
Yeah,
talking for a
Survivor
while,
Series.
so we're gonna play a couple of songs for you now. While we have a quick break of our vocal cords.
Yeah.
There's in honor of Dolph.
In order of
There's
being
Dolph.
over.
Who did Dolph?
Giving you the middle one.
Cause I'm a real one, that's all day. Foreign cars, that's all day.
That's all day, folks. You didn't
Yeah,
know
I mean,
all
it wasn't
day.
great.
That
but
was all day by Wiz Khalifa and PMD. One of our
PMD
friends.
though. Shout out PMD.
Yeah.
That's alright.
Yeah, it's not bad. Cena can't rap anymore. He's clearly not been doing it for
No,
long.
no. He's rusty, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get back on it.
Yeah. It is what it
All
is.
day.
When you put Wiz Khalifa and John Cena together, this is what you get. It's
Yeah,
never
this
going to be great,
This
is
is
it?
the 2K15, one of the soundtracks. Another song as well.
Well, I just saw that on it. It says "Time Is Now." Eminem feat John Cena.
It's obviously fake, man. It's
Yeah, I know it's
probably a
fake,
mashup.
but like, but what do you think that's gonna be like? Though
Shit.
could be alright.
So it's time to talk about.
Greatest Raw theme of all time, by the way.
Imagine
Yeah.
if this was still the theme.
Yeah, well, it is.
They need a new theme.
You don't even do the theme anymore, do you?
No.
Don't they?
You
What?
just go straight into it.
Do they?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
but-
it's just the breaks and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about Monday Night Raw.
Bit of Raw after. Nice.
So, following on, so obviously it was going to be a lot of fallout from the Authority being fired because they lost. Fallout from Sting. And a bit of an unexpected return, really, wasn't it, from
I popped.
Daniel Bryan?
I popped. I was watching this live.
I've watched bits. Like I should have watched it live. I just forgot it was on. So I've watched it since. Like I watched, bits of it.
So D. Bry returns and is the general manager of Raw.
He is.
For the night, just
For
for
the
the
night.
night.
We won't talk about it yet, but I really like the ending. The end, like a lot of people hated on it, but the ending was great.
Yeah, we'll see that.
Yeah, he comes out and Daniel Bryan gets a little, he gets a little payoff with Triple H now coming out and just
yesing in front of his face.
Yes, in front of them saying in a bit, mate. And it was quite good. Like they could have dragged out the Authority being there, but after this segment, they just
went on to Bryan announcing what's going to happen to the Team Authority for the night.
Well, basically, John Cena was the man who was to choose who was running Raw. By the way, like Daniel Bryan wasn't Vince. John Cena got to choose, and he put Daniel Bryan in charge.
Well, we got to say the show did start off with Triple H and Stephanie. They did give like a lengthy promo about the about what happened and all of that.
Sting.
About Sting, about them going, saying the show's going to fall apart, there'll be no WWE. Give it 3 weeks.
Yeah, do you think we will be back as well?
Do you think that's what's going to happen? Do you think this show's going to fall apart?
Yeah, it fell apart in 3 hours. So.
Let's
go downhill by the
I
end.
honestly think that might be the plan. That's why they brought back. Obviously,
I wouldn't mind that. Like,
they'll have really bad GMs. Like obviously, we'll get to the end.
That would be quite good. And you bring the Authority back, and then maybe like the Authority is still there, but like in a more NXT role. Where like Triple H is a face in NXT, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like that sort of way. Like they bring him back, and then they actually book good matches and stuff, and then for a couple of years they're not there as a bad Authority figure. They're just sort of there booking
in between.
It'll be fine because they're going to be there anyway. They may as well be. There's not been a long. Teddy Long was probably the longest running GM. So like I wouldn't mind the Authority as a long running non-face, non-heel, like Authority figure.
I want to see Hogan as the new GM.
Hogan?
Yeah.
They might do him, man.
Every week Hogan.
He'll like his
coach me.
Like I said, we'll talk about who's next. Who next week? Oh, that'd be good, man. Well, because I think it was at the start they said for the next couple of weeks this is going to be the case. So they're obviously going to guest GMs for a little while.
It's going to be annoying.
One of my favourite bits of the segment was almost like the WWE shooting on their own. How bad is Corporate Kane?
Corporate
by
Kane.
changing Corporate Kane into concessions Kane.
Daniel Bryan was funny here, wasn't he?
So he, director of food and beverage. It's quite funny.
I also like that we finally got to see. Well, the option was Seth Rollins is going to be in a tag match, 3-2 handicap match against John Cena and Ziggler, I think it was, or something like that.
Yeah.
And the two partners could either be, I don't remember the other two selections.
But Kane and Mark Henry.
Kane and
someone else.
Or
Kane Rollins.
Or J&J Security. Jay Mercury and Jamie Noble.
Yes.
And obviously the fans made the right decision.
Yeah.
We're obvious.
Biggest landslide ever. 97% or so.
I think like the WWE, now they're slowly they're realising stuff quicker with the internet and stuff now. They're gonna push these. I think they'll probably have a match at some point. Like
pay-per-view match, man.
I'd
be surprised.
J&J Security.
Because I reckon
I really want to see that.
I wouldn't mind.
I'd buy their merchandise.
Yeah, in 6 months down the line, if they're a tag team that aren't associated with the Authority,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Be all right. I'd be
both really good in ring work.
I really want to see that.
Yeah, it's almost like like the Golden Stardust thing. I think that spanned from like Raw's 1000th episode where they had a match. And then, like, it was really over, so that's where it came. Obviously, they're picking up on these things. Ryback defeated Mark Henry. Yeah. That
happened. It was just a squash. Got back from commercial.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is, Ryback defeated Mark Henry. The match, as you can imagine, the match lasted about, 4 minutes, and
we didn't
involved about three wrestling moves.
Not many people wanted to see that, I don't think.
Then we got into a good match.
Yeah. Dean Ambrose versus Luke Harper. This is a good little match. It was for the Intercontinental Championship, and again, like Dean Ambrose was using the tables, ladders, and chairs, just going mental, getting disqualified because he doesn't really care.
Importance to the Intercontinental Championship. I feel like
Dean Ambrose hasn't won a month, but he's so
like he's trying to be
that's a good thing. He doesn't need to.
Hopefully, he gets his win.
Moving on.
Yeah,
Bray came out, beat up Dean Ambrose.
Bray came out, just destroyed and gave him Sister Abigail.
Yeah, and he did basically what Dean did to him the night before, just put loads of chairs and all that stuff. And just payback. Just payback,
Payback's a bitch.
Payback is a B word.
How payback?
Payback.
Yeah, okay. Golden Stardust got their rematch against Miz and Mizdow. Another the Mizdow was, they got more over from this again.
Even more, yeah.
It was just
Came out with
awesome.
replica titles, didn't they?
It was
really funny.
It was the playing on it brilliantly. The Miz and Mizdow were playing the characters fantastically.
Both of them,
but,
even
Miz
is doing well, man.
Yeah,
You know what I
great.
mean?
Again, a great little match with where the Mizdow actually got a little bit more wrestling tonight, and the figure 4 that I'm looking at right here is actually really cool. And then the Miz won with the skull crushing finale.
Yeah, it did.
Moving on.
Stardust had red paint on.
Yep. Concessions Kane tried to sell a hot dog to Ryback.
And he said, Ryback, there's this funny meme of him where he's throwing, it might be later on, where he says, here's your nuts. And there's a meme of him saying, like here's your nuts. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I think it was in this segment. I remember Kane just gets drenched with mustard as well.
I reckon Concessions Kane might be my
His new
favourite
gimmick.
character.
Best gimmick ever.
Yeah. He just comes out and gives people hot dogs. Be sick, man.
Yeah. He's got some Monty Python character coming through the crowd, going Albatross.
He gets so over, wouldn't he? So
yeah.
Didn't really care for this.
Rusev and Lana received help in the American Ultimatum, where Lana had to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, or Rusev had to defend his US title in a battle royal
against everyone on the roster.
Against the entire mid card, even though they said the entire roster, but what they meant was everyone who isn't important.
Basically.
And that happened.
Sergeant Slaughter came out and
blah blah blah,
and he won. Then the great new Dark Fandango came out in all black, and his moves have really improved. This match was good. Justin Gabriel's, he always gets beat in these matches, but he's one of the
good worker, man,
he's a good worker, which is why he always gets put in these matches.
He's a nice little jobber to have.
Fandango looks like he's added about 5 or 6 new moves into his moveset, and fair enough. I'm liking this character. Build him a bit more.
His finish is great as well.
He's never gonna get higher than the mid card, but fuck it.
He's like the new Val Venus, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. But not as sort of annoying.
Not as annoying.
Eric Rowan confronted the Big Show on his traitor tracks. Yeah. So Eric Rowan came out.
I fell asleep to this. I'm not gonna lie.
I think so did I.
He came out and the Big Show never cried. Did he turn face again here? So
the face again. Though,
by the way, before this, the Big Show's promo before Rowan came out was so long.
Was it? Was it bad?
Oh my goodness, it was so bad.
So is this going to be a match then at the pay-per-view?
Yes, it will be.
Unfortunately.
AJ defeated Brie Bella, who had necked the knee like the day before. So 2 women got it on after neck the night before. Cool.
Sounds like a night out here.
Aye.
Moving
on.
And
then another really good match.
Adam Rose and the Bunny got defeated by Natalia and Tyson Kidd.
Interspecies.
Bit weird.
What's interspecies?
That's what it's called, yeah.
Because it wasn't intergender, it was, interspecies.
It's a bunny lad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who cares?
It looks like Adam Rose is going to turn heel and kill the bunny.
I think he's already a heel,
yeah. But it's not really, he's not heel, he's playing a face.
He needs a better gimmick, man, because in NXT, when he was Leo Kruger, that's a good gimmick, and he's taken seriously. Yeah, he is talented, like.
Yeah. Johnson, what is it like? His like you see them do these like Bray Wyatt, the Shield, and then you see them
Adam
with
Rose
shit
and
with like Adam Rose and Bo Dallas.
Xavier Woods as well.
Like what the fuck was Bo Dallas ever meant to be like?
I like Bo Dallas.
Looks like,
you didn't know if he was a face or heel.
Yeah, but like, what can you tell me? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, whoever fucking wrote.
That's what I liked about
Bo Dallas's shit, man. Needs to be like getting a job in like, I don't know, In-N-Out Burger or something. Like, what were they trying to achieve? Like, how could you think someone who's going to come out and just tell people to bow leave in a weird way with no sort of like, because the lad's got charisma. When you look him in NXT, he does have charisma because he's like his brother, and
not as good. Like,
who's his brother?
Bray Wyatt.
Is that his brother?
Can you not tell? Like, have you not noticed they got the same stupid face?
The both rotundos, man.
Yeah.
They really?
Yeah.
Husky Harris and him are the brothers.
Yeah.
Yes. Look exactly the same in the face.
Nobody informed me of this before.
Because like it's so obvious.
It's obvious. That's
it's
why.
Not obvious.
Oh, probably not to you.
They've got completely different builds and.
Anyway, it's his brother, right? But
really?
he'd come out with he'd battle a face one week and heel the next week.
Yeah,
it's really weird.
Louis, stop being looking so surprised.
That's mad.
Louis just sat there looking absolutely bewildered, just playing with a whiteboard marker. Like he does, yeah, but
have them as a tag team.
No, I
New
don't
Hardy
associate
brothers.
Bo Dallas with Bray Wyatt, please.
Unless
The
they bring
Bo
him back.
Wyatts. Bo Wyatt.
I wouldn't mind them
New
as a
member
tag
of the
team.
Wyatt family, though.
I wouldn't mind
Yes.
them as a tag team, but as long as they waited a while.
He's Sister Abigail, isn't
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you had a sex change.
he? Yeah.
Bo
So
Wyatts.
in the final match, John Cena and Dolph Ziggler defeated Seth Rollins and Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury. Yeah, good match.
Just a squash, really.
Yeah,
They
just a bit of a squash. Good
Jamie
matches.
and Noble and Joey Mercury just bumped the
Yeah.
whole match, really.
Pretty much. Daniel Bryan came out. It was
Great
just-
sellers, though.
They
aren't
Yeah,
bumped
it's
the whole
just
match,
the-
wasn't
the-
it?
just
PG.
it's just that little period where the faces get everything they want for another 2 weeks before the heels come in.
That's true.
Let's talk about SmackDown.
But the ending, man. You haven't got to touch upon the ending.
Oh, right, here we go. The ending, the
Oh,
best
yeah.
bit.
Yeah,
best bit
this
of the
is the
whole
best
show.
bit.
So, a night after one of the greatest endings in
One of the
WWE
worst.
history.
No, it's not the word. Like, I legitimately enjoyed this. So, like, at no
No.
point, the cameramen did really well. At no point had anyone seen the setup for this. But at the end of it, just at the very end, when all the face get everyone, diddle-it.
Wouldn't stop as well.
It's the Anonymous
Raw
Raw General Manager
That laptop,
announcing
man.
they are back for next week.
They were some dark
yeah,
times with
yeah.
WWE, man. I
Yeah,
don't want that back.
they were. But I like that. You know, for
Did you really?
yeah, for next week,
next
for
week.
1 week, I think it's going to be quite funny.
By the way, how
But
many...
to be honest, it's not even for anything. It's actually because it's Cyber Monday. Like it's like all the it's going to be one of them all the matches decided by the people. That's all
Oh,
it was.
right.
I don't think it's going
It's
to.
not just. Oh,
I don't
okay.
actually think it's going to be there. I think that's all that they were trying to say. I think it was a way to announce Cyber Monday.
But
Hopefully, man.
by the way, like, you know that kept flashing at the end? How many emails was he getting?
Yeah.
Like, he needs to
Went off a lot,
turn
didn't
some
it,
spam filters on. What's going on there?
What's going on?
What's going on there? Or answer the emails, for goodness sake.
Right, we're going to talk a little bit about SmackDown now.
CM Punk, getting back to him.
You what?
All those emails at the end was CM Punk's lawyer, giving him more subpoenas, more final demands.
So we started off SmackDown with Daniel Bryan again.
Yeah, he was general
He
manager
was
for the night again.
general
yeah.
manager for the night again.
Good stuff.
I don't know anything about SmackDown. What's happened?
We're getting into it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a big show, wasn't it? Open segment as well, I believe.
Yeah, he came out and like
It was just
Nice
big
man.
showing it up.
yeah. So it was the Miz TV and obviously Miz and Mizdow were there in the game. Miz has got his titles and
Both in the
Mizdow's got the
suits.
face. Big Show was the guest, to talk about his what he'd done. Daniel Bryan came out and said he was also the manager for the night, their general manager. Yeah, so he set up a couple of matches: Ryback, Seth Rollins, Luke Harper, and Dolph Ziggler, and the 20-man battle royal for the US title because he
Oh,
didn't
right,
do
yeah.
the play. So this is clearly like. It was announced this week as well, which we haven't talked about yet, that SmackDown's getting built up again. SmackDown's going to rival, because it's switching
It looks
to
that way, yeah.
Thursdays.
It's been some really
On,
good segments on it the past few months,
Yeah,
hasn't it? So-
it's backstage. I think it was Meltzer. I think he said it was backstage stuff that Vince wants to build it up ahead of the Thursday, and I think
They've
what
got
they
a
said.
new day, haven't they?
Yeah, I think what they said. It was
Hey, pun intended.
Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose are going to be one of them. Is going to be the
Is that
SmackDown
right, yeah?
main. So yeah, it's going to be.
Maybe they'll bring the draft back. Who knows?
Yeah, possibly.
They don't do a
So,
brand split.
I don't know. I don't think they're going to do a brand split. I think they're going to do like an Attitude Era style, where it's just like 2 shows a week with the whole roster, which is
All-star
quite good,
power.
man.
Yeah.
Jack Swagger, it was the Rusev defended his battle royal and won.
He limited Cesaro.
And it was what it was. It was never a battle royal. They're always fun.
Yeah. Especially with
Good match.
guys like Cesaro.
Yeah,
and
there was
Kofi
quite
and
a lot of the good mid-card in there and tag teams, which was good.
Big Show was in there, man.
Yeah,
Why don't we turn Cesaro face and have him face Rusev?
that would be good.
That would be good.
Yeah, Bray
I
Wyatt.
just came into my head
Have
that.
you seen this promo? Bray Wyatt cut a really
I
good
haven't seen it,
promo
no.
against
It's good, yeah.
Yeah, he was celebrating. He was like, so confident and
Yeah.
stuff. So.
Any in-ring Bray promo is going to be great. So.
Yeah.
I think it was a video package or
Was it
it was
a
on
video?
the screen. I can't remember. I don't think he was in the ring.
Yeah, the mic though.
Yeah, Nikki Bella squashed Emma. I watched that. I watched all the SmackDown actually. I think it was on my TV or
Did
something.
you?
That was quite cool. I did a little dance to Emma.
Yeah, she
Emma's
is.
my favourite diva at the moment, if you haven't
Yeah.
noticed.
Ryback, Seth Rollins.
Yeah, Ryback Seth Rollins went on for about 8. It went through an outbreak, so it was alright,
Right, yeah.
And then, yeah. What was it? How did it end?
by
Word
the
just been
disqualification.
Oh yeah, Kane. That was it. Because that's setting up the match. Yeah, Kane came out.
Oh, it got announced actually right
Kane
after
came
that.
out.
Kane Ryback chairs
What's
match.
a
Chairs match is a terrible stipulation.
Is that
Yeah.
a TLC, a chairs match?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's just the worst.
The-
The
what
tables
does it
match is
mean?
probably
I know.
the tables match would probably be a new day.
Yes, that's what
A
happened.
new
You
day.
need to see
A
this.
new
Yeah.
day
New Day
debuted. They defeated
Finally.
Slater and Curtis Axel, and they
Yes.
came out and it was a lot of fun. And you know the gimmick was really good. Big E, right? Big E is apparently one of the funniest guys around the back of the locker room, and you can see
He
that
seems
from
it, doesn't he?
when
He's
you
got
see it, when
charisma,
you look
man.
at his Instagram and YouTube, like the
Yeah.
videos he uploads. He's so funny.
He's got charisma,
Right,
hasn't he?
and yeah, I noticed these little things that put guys over, man. Like he was the other day, like when he debuted in this match, I think he does it, like he does this huge move on like Curtis Axel to Titus O'Neil, and then like he stops and like whips out this little like you know, like a handkerchief, and just wipes all the sweat off his face and puts it back in, and then like runs off and just like carries on beating them up. Just little
That's
bits
it,
like that
yeah.
get him really over because the crowd
Sure,
loved
yeah.
it, man. Like
Yeah.
you know, it zoomed in, it's just his face and everything while he was doing it, you know, just like you know the way like he did it. And like you know, Kofi was Kofi. Xavier Woods looked a lot better than his, you know.
That's good.
So you know, these
It was a
guys
good
have got
debut then,
very
yeah.
good potential. Yeah,
Good
and I'm glad
debut.
they did it on SmackDown. You know, because they're a
They're
SmackDown-esque tag team.
That is
SmackDown has
true,
always
yeah.
been the more PG show.
Yeah.
They're a SmackDown-esque tag
Looking
team.
forward to seeing them on Raw though,
Mhm.
if they're on there.
Dolph Ziggler defeated Luke by counter. So it's obviously what's happening. They're just putting on the smaller matches from Survivor Series and not having anyone go over anyone. Really, they're just building up feuds. You know, it's not the worst in the world.
Dolph
This
wins,
was a
but-
pretty good match, and Dolph still got the revenge when he got you got to put a zigzag on Harper at the end.
Main
So-
event was
yeah,
that?
it was the main
It's a good
event, yeah.
So,
yeah.
who's the champion now? Is it still
Luke Harper,
Still
yeah.
Luke Harper,
It
okay.
was like by counter, wasn't it?
Oh, okay, right.
So yeah, that was SmackDown, people.
Yeah, I might have to start
Yeah.
tuning into SmackDown a bit more
Mhm.
actually.
Definitely.
It does seem like it's getting a bit of a
Yeah,
push now, doesn't it?
So that you know that's an hour and a half of what's just happened the last week. you
Yeah,
know.
there's just a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah,
isn't it?
well, we're gonna talk about one more thing that happened last week. Paddy's gonna talk about that. So we're gonna talk about the PCW events that have been
Yeah,
happening.
it's the
in,
Ring of Honor Super Show.
New world champion.
yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, it's been happening at Vogue and Preston. We have unfortunately not got to any of the events.
Well, we're
Uh,
gonna make sure that they're the next two.
Yeah,
It's the next one's gonna be the Chris Travis double donation, isn't it, for his operation, I believe.
yeah, I think he's suffering from cancer, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
Whenabouts is that?
That's
it's the end of January. It's 20th January.
That'd be good to go to check.
And
That'd be a
then-
lot
and then
local and orientated wrestlers,
we're
but it'd be
planning-
good to see them in action.
The one we really want to go to is Road to Glory,
Yeah.
which is March 13th, 14th. So far, they've been announced Alberto Del Rio, Matt Hardy, UR Nation, and Chris Masters.
That's
Plus
a really
two
good
more
lineup,
to be
plus two
announced
more.
as well.
Could be a famous tag team. I think it might be.
Maybe get the Dudleys back because they said they were going to come back.
Yeah, possibly,
That'd be
yeah.
a good card.
That's star power, isn't it? I mean, like what all of them are ex-WWE except Uha. Well,
And he's
soon to be,
joining.
yeah, soon to be.
Oh,
WWE.
yeah, nothing to mention. Yeah.
And let's have a look at this one. Was it which one was it?
Probably 3, was it? Yeah, because there was basically it was PCW and Ring of Honor Super Shows, which is great. I mean, I was devastated because I've been watching Ring of Honor since probably about 2010, so it's 4 years now. So I was a bit gutted I couldn't attend, but yeah, there was 3 or 4 shows,
Yeah,
and yeah, the card looks stacked.
Mm.
A lot of
we can't really find it, but
yeah, the card looks stacked, and it had some really good Ring of Honor wrestlers there, which some of them I've seen live. So like Michael Elgin, I've seen at PCW, David Richards, so but
We
there's
met them,
a few
didn't we?
new ones. Yeah, we met them. Yeah, but there's a few new ones like Adam Cole came over. The Briscoes, they were the tag team, all wrestlers out of any Ring of Honor wrestlers. They who wanted to see was the Briscoes
apparently
live.
the tickets are now on sale. Apparently, man, on sale tonight.
Is that right? Yeah, we'll have to get them early, won't we? Definitely. But what the major thing probably coming out of the Super Shows is Chris Masters was the World Heavyweight Champion,
Yeah.
and he went up against Uha Nation, which sounds like a really good in-ring contest, and Uha ends up getting the win. So it's been a great day, a great weekend for Uha. He finds out he gets signed to WWE, WWE NXT, and he wins the PCW World title. But he's going to hold that probably till the show, the March show, because he reports to NXT in April, I believe. So he's probably going to hold the title for that March show, and we're looking, we think, which would be great, Alberto Del Rio versus Uha Nation for the
If
title
Yeah.
match.
Del Rio
Del
might
Rio
take it.
holds that title. That's
Be
my guess.
awesome.
That would
And
be
he's
so good.
PCW regular. Alberto Del Rio.
That'd be
Exactly.
awesome.
Indeed.
Was there anything else you wanted to touch on?
Regarding PCW.
We got regarding PCW. Well, are we gonna get back onto the 2003 roundup?
I think we should just do that as a separate thing when we've seen it, when we've watched it all.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I could play a song and then I could go into me backstage stories.
All right, cool.
So yeah, I was on a forum last night and it's a really good forum, and there's just so many backstage stories, like from even the 80s, mainly from the 80s. 'Cause there's so many tough guys back then. Yeah, it was about backstage stories, so a lot of fights. I'm gonna get into them. Soon we're gonna play the Matt Hardy theme song.
Yeah.
I'll get the forum up. I can slam a tornado.
Why do you want to slam tornado?
It's a really
for?
great wrestling theme, actually, in full.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Strange, Matt Hardy.
Dangerous.
So yeah, I'm gonna hit some backstage stories now. First one that's up here is New Jack. New Jack, Lou, you love New
Yes,
Jack. Everyone loves
go
New
on.
Jack. Versus Brian Pillman. And this was on June the 1st, 1996. Brian Pillman returned to the ECW arena just a week after breaking his foot in a car accident. Pillman cut a promo in the ring where he made a reference to the NWA, the rap group, not the wrestling organisation.
Right.
To this day, nobody expected New Jack. No, to this day, nobody except New Jack is 100% on what he thought. But it's believed that New Jack either misheard the comments or was misinformed by someone backstage. But he went nuts backstage anyway, talking about the infamous N-word. Pillman came backstage in his wheelchair, mind you. Both men got into a very heated confrontation where many believe New Jack would attack the crippled Pillman. To his credit, Pillman never backed down to anything. New Jack threatened to leave the company over the incident, and Pillman never went back to work for ECW again. Days later, Pillman signed the first ever guaranteed contract issued by the World Wrestling Federation. That's not all bad. Yeah, we've got another one. Rick Rude versus the Ultimate Warrior. Some may have heard this, some not. During the Ultimate Warrior Rick Rude program, Rude came back after the match and asked Warrior to lighten up a bit. Warrior got right into Rude's face and said, "I don't have to because I'm the Warrior." Rude knocked him silly with one punch and walked away. So winner there was Rick Rude. There's one here about Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle. That was just a little wrestling match they had. Obviously Vince and Kurt Angle as well. You know, everyone would always try and challenge Kurt Angle, you know, to take him down in a wrestling match, and no one ever would. Not even Lesnar could.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened in 2001 sometime. It's a funny one. Sid Vicious versus a squirrel. Vicious had a squirrel he took with him everywhere. Two wrestlers, I'm pretty sure one of them was Arn Anderson, bet him he couldn't keep the squirrel down his pants for a whole minute. Vicious accepted the challenge and stuck it down his pants. After about 30 seconds, the squirrel bit a very sensitive area, if you catch my drift. Vicious fell down in pain and crushed the squirrel. He needed a rabies shot and stitches on his genitalia. So the winner's a squirrel. Kevin Nash and Scott Hall versus a bunch of stupid drunkards. Spring Break, Nitro 1997. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall and Six, Sean Waltman were guests on stage as part of MTV's annual Spring Break coverage.
Is that thing they showed a clip of on that?
Yeah,
I
think so. Yeah, the three were there to punish losers of a talent contest, and to build up the annual Panama City Nitro that Monday. Anyway, a drunk guy in the crowd was causing trouble and threw something at the stage. The NWO guys asked security to get a grip on the rowdy crowd, but were blown off. When the guy threw something else, the NWO guys astonished their MTV host by leaping off the stage, grabbing the guy themselves and turning him over to security. They then threatened to walk out if security didn't get the crowd under better control. And MTV usually shows the footage annually as a wildest ever moment while building up Spring Break coverage. Some good mainstream exposure.
Nice.
William Regal, Bill Goldberg. Probably know about this, the match they had. Regal had the moment with Goldberg where he did a little unscheduled mat wrestling. I think the only reason why this is considered is because Goldberg didn't know what was going on. Regal could lead a dead man through a believable sequence, and they believe that is what he's trying to do. But Goldberg flopped around and ended up looking like an idiot. William Regal versus The Big Show. Regal came to near blows with Paul White. White was complaining about selling for Rey Mysterio Jr., and Regal got in his face and told him he was a fat slob, and that the only difference between White and Ron Rice was a push. Rene Dupriago, Holly, he beat the shit out of. Hulk Hogan, Harley Race. As Race, then NWA, was stormed the backstage area at a WWF show at the Municipal Auditorium. The Funk Brothers looked stunned. Hogan was staring at the Funks and they could see their faces. Before he could turn around, Race slapped him in the ribs. Hogan fell backwards into a chair. Sensing a difficult situation, Hulk joked, "Harley, I thought the first time I saw you in Kansas City you'd have a great big gun." Hogan should be advised not to play call my bluff with Harley Race, as Race shot back with, "I don't have a great big one," before pulling out a 38 caliber handgun.
Oh my god.
There's so many.
JBL versus the Blue
Captain
Meanie.
Lou Albino versus Shane McMahon in the late 80s.
Read that one myself. Oh.
I didn't know that one. The Extreme Rules one between JBL and the Blue Meanie.
Oh, right.
They had a fight in the ring. JBL just punched him one. Shane McMahon versus Captain Lou Albino. Albino was one of the people Vince Sr. asked Vince Jr. to take care of after he died, so Lou apparently tested this one day. An 11-year-old Shane would always walk up to Lou and say, "What's up, fat man?" This would piss Lou off and give the boys around a chuckle. One day Shane went up to Lou and said once again, "What's up, fat man?" Lou reportedly told Shane if he called him fat man one more time he'd forget who he was and slap the taste out of his mouth. Sure enough, little Shane said, "No problem, fat man." Then little Shane got to slap the good one. Jesus.
Right.
Steve Austin versus Raven. Steve Austin once exchanged heated words in the locker room with Raven. Deborah was cutting a promo near the showers backstage and Raven came out wearing nothing but a towel. Austin confronts them, grabbing Raven and verbally laying into him, feeling that Raven was showing off in front of his wife. Raven claimed he didn't know Deborah was there. The situation quelled quickly, but wrestlers have said Austin always overprotective of Deborah. Austin later apologised. So there's some good ones. Ric Flair versus Nasty Boys. I'll end on this one. I'll end on the last two. The Nasty Boys were bothering Flair's friend Robbie Canoff, who was drunk. The Nasties took Canoff's sunglasses and stomped on them, and then tore his suit. Flair got pissed about it and confronted Knobbs about it. Flair told him to leave Canoff alone, but Knobbs responded with a bad look on his face. Flair slapped Knobbs silly, but he tried to fight back, but Flair had it under control. Sags then jumped across the bar and hit Flair in the eye. Sags and Flair started fighting, but it was broken up and Flair was tossed out of the bar. The damages were put on Flair's credit card. Like it says in Flair's book, "What's wrong with the picture? The Nasty Boys stay in, but Flair goes out. Winner, the Nasty Boys." And then one which I really don't believe is, I'll land on this. On the very same night that Michaels and Hart were fighting backstage at Raw, Piper and Nash were doing some of the same at Nitro. After a match that ended up being a complete mess between Scott Hall and Nash against Piper and Ric Flair, Nash stormed backstage, booted Piper's dressing room door down and leveled Piper with a punch to the head before the pair were pulled apart by various backstage personnel. Nash went unpunished, which became the theme for WCW later, and nothing further came of the fight. Yeah, there's some good backstage stories that I found.
Some of them are mental.
I know, some of them probably are bullshit. Like that Kevin Nash Roddy Piper one, I don't believe for a second.
Why didn't you believe that?
I don't know, it just seemed like it'd come out more like Kevin Nash punching Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
I don't think Nash would ever punch Piper though. Like, don't you think he respects him and shit?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
And Piper's a hard man, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Nash has got a lot of heat, hasn't he? So he must be a bit of a knob.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Monday Night Wars then, Lou?
Monday Night Wars,
Yeah,
the
the past
celebrity
2
one,
weeks.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
we're
had the
talking about both of
Divas
them.
and the
Alright.
Celebs one, yeah.
Yeah, start with Divas then.
Yeah.
All right, so Divas sick, wasn't it? Because it's a subject that like isn't covered. Like basically, the WWE recently have taken the Attitude Era and they've tried to squeeze as much money as possible out of it. And I think, in my opinion, they've done a lot of the same. They've they're running out of new ways to do this. But a new novel way to do this was the Divas special of on Monday Night Wars, and like this was something they didn't go into a lot of detail about before. And that's what I think was really good. There was stuff I didn't know on there. I think the most interesting thing I saw in there was the clip of Bill Clinton, Sonny on Bill Clinton's lap. And I just think...
Were they kissing as well? Or Sonny kissed them on the cheek,
something like that.
yeah?
They were playing off
Jesus.
like the Monica Lewinsky thing, weren't they? And
It looked like it.
yeah, why would you not show that?
Never
An
It's
ex-president...
the only time I've seen that. And
Yeah.
Madness.
It wasn't even shown in the celebrity
show
one,
this
was
one,
it?
no.
No. Obviously, David Arquette's a bigger celebrity than Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What do you think of the old show? What do you think of it?
The Divas one was great, but the next one, the week after, the celebrity one, we're going to talk about that. That was one of my favourites actually.
I like the celebrity one was good. I liked the. There's some stuff I didn't know on that. What happened in the celebrity one again? That was they talking the David Arquette thing. Quite a lot of they took that quite a lot of detail. They talked like the infamous Jay Leno match, 5-star Jay Leno match.
Of course.
You know,
Hogan selling
mat
armbars
wrestler.
for Jay Leno.
He is one of the great mat wrestlers. Old Jay Leno,
Old
as
Jay
you know.
Leno.
You know, he did train the Olympics with Kurt Angle, and then of course they went into the Mike Tyson thing in quite a lot of detail
Yeah,
as well.
of course.
Yeah,
Dennis Rodman as well.
Dennis Rodman and
And Karl Malone,
And
the
Karl
two
Malone.
basketball
Yeah,
players
yeah.
fighting on like a pay-per-view.
Which I think was a good idea. Get two
Yeah,
basketball
that was
players
decent,
going
'cause
at it,
They could actually wrestle, like they said on the documentary, didn't they?
yeah.
Like the basketball players are athletes, so they could pull off some moves and actually bump. But Jay Leno was like
No,
just a bit too far
a little bit.
to be competing.
Yeah, and it's about the Hogan and Bischoff going on the Tonight Show as well. It's quite a big moment for them. Didn't mention any Bill Clinton in there at all. They didn't mention Man on the Moon. They didn't mention Lawler going on Man on the Moon. And Jim Ross as well. And when was that? That was like mid-90s, wasn't it? So
I think it was 98.
was it? So that would have been big, like celebrity exposure as well for them at the time. What are you doing? So yeah, I didn't mention that.
Obviously Arnie Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger,
He was on there as well.
Yeah, so he was good. They talked a lot about like getting people like Ken Shamrock and Mark Henry, the way that they started
that
to
was
put
cool.
athletes in
And
there.
then they actually gave a good little segment to Kurt Angle, didn't he? Like he looked really good in that, I thought.
Yeah.
When Kurt Angle obviously crossed over from amateur wrestling to pro wrestling. And yeah, they talked about his push and stuff, how it didn't take him long at all to get used to, apparently he weren't really into it. He didn't see the attraction, like the sports entertainment side, but apparently he sat down and watched the Raw, like front row, and then was just like, wow, this is really harder than I thought.
Yeah.
I should, try this. And fair to him, he got the entertainment side down straight away,
Got
didn't he?
it down, mate. Got it down.
Indeed. Nice.
Yeah.
So Monday night was.
Cool.
Yeah.
Past 2
Right.
weeks were good.
And he's also very sexy, Kurt Angle.
Right, is that about it?